Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus. More on the brilliant topic of atheism versus agnosticism, two of the most important pointless concepts I have ever come across in my life. So, let's split this up into three. Many people are commenting and I feel like we need to shorten this conversation piece so that we can get to the grown-up important bit, you know, the reason why these words matter and were created. So, to start with, where does theism, atheism, Gnosticism, agnosticism, where do these words come from and why are they created? Well, Greeks, and then later on Romans using the Latin language, had these words so that they could encapsulate complex subjects in a single word so that they could get to the actual grown-up conversation. Rather than arguing about what atheism and theism and agnosticism and Gnosticism meant, they wrote a thing called a dictionary, and in their Greek and Latin dictionary they wrote, theism means belief in God or gods. Atheism means falsify, no belief in God or gods, don't believe God or gods are false. And the same with Gnosticism. Gnostis means knowing. So if you're Gnostic, you know. There is no debate. There is no, I'm not sure, I might be convinced later. You know fact. Gnostic means know. Therefore, agnostic means I don't factually know. So you can see straight away there's a distinction there between theism, atheism, and Gnostic and agnostic. Theism is making a positive claim. I know for a fact that God is real or gods are real. That's theism. Atheism is I'm making the positive claim that there is no God and gods are not real or a God is not real. And it's the same with Gnosticism. Gnostics are saying, we definitely know, factually, 100%, whatever the thing is, we're Gnostis of it, we know it. Agnostic means I factually do not know. So it's not making a positive claim, it's making a negative assumption with a lack of information. So that's what agnostic means. Agnostic means I don't really know. I don't believe currently because I don't know, and I don't believe because I don't know. I can't say whether I believe or not because I'm agnostic and I don't know. However, atheism says theism is false. Atheism. Theism, no. False claim. God and gods do not exist. So they definitely have a belief, and their belief is a positive one. The positive belief is gods ain't real. Atheism. Or a theist says, positive belief, God's definitely real. God or God's definitely real. There is no agnosticism in atheism. And there is no theism or atheism in agnosticism because agnosticism means I don't know. So that's the first bit out of the way. The second bit is, sorry, I didn't mean to swear at you. The second bit is, why does this matter to you? Because when the Greeks and later the Romans developed these words and codified them in their dictionary, they were embarking on a complex theological and philosophical journey, a big discussion with many complex bits and bobs to get around, and the reason they were doing that is because they had already agreed on a set basic pattern of simple words, including Gnostic, agnostic, theism, atheism. So once they had their basic key stage 1 words arranged, they moved on to the bigger boys conversation, right? Which those words were used within. But if they had not agreed on what those words meant and codified it in a dictionary, they would never be getting to the bigger boy conversation and they would never have progressed as a society. Third thing, choose which group you are in. Are you in the key stage 1 group who can't agree what words mean and will never move on to the bigger boys conversation, i.e. you don't know what atheism, theism, agnostic, and Gnostic means and you think a JPEG off Google can teach you? Or do you accept the classical standard meanings in the dictionary for these things, plus the way they've been used throughout time by such luminaries as Christopher Hitchens, who himself in this book says agnosticism is not atheism, and he is like, atheists call him Saint Hitchens, or guys like this, A.C. Grayling, who says atheism is a pathway to agnosticism because he believes in spirits and dreams and, souls and consciousness and stuff. Because if you're in that group, then you might as well get used to the idea that all this thinking has been done hundreds of years ago. We know exactly what atheism, theism, Gnosticism and agnosticism mean, and we always have. and it hasn't recently changed. So if that's you, you can go on to the bigger boys discussion, the complex bit with the bits and bobs of splitting off into theism, deism, Taoism, Christianity, Muslim, or Hindu, or just not believing in anything at all. Atheism, vanilla atheism, if you like. That's the conversation you want to be in. That's where the meat and gravy is. That's the rewarding bit over there. The intelligent discussion. So I would advise you, if you're not there yet, that's the bit you want to be in. However, if you want to be in that class with all the bigger boys, you're going to need to accept what the bigger boys are accepting, which is the standard Greek and Latin dictionary is still the standard Greek and Latin dictionary, i.e. theism means positively yes, God is true. Atheism means no, falsify that, they're definitely not true. Gnosticism means I definitely 100% know these things. And agnosticism means I definitely 100% do not know these things, in which case, if I am agnostic, I cannot say I believe with certainty or that I disbelieve with certainty because I am agnostic of that information. And if I do have that information, guess what I am? I'm either a theist, a deist, or an atheist because I am certain in my belief. So, conclusion time. Make your mind up. Do you want to be stuck in the kiddie pool talking about what words mean when for hundreds of years we have known, and like I say, they haven't changed recently? Or, as would be my recommendation, do you want to get yourself in the higher set, if you like, the bigger boys class where the real discussion is going on, and sink your teeth into those complex subjects? Is God real or not? Why? Or if you're an atheist, proving that that is a fallacy. That's where you're going to get your reward, and that's where the good conversation is happening. This bit over here is pathetic. Like I make no secret for my disdain for that. We're adults. Why are we still discussing what the definition of standard words mean when they have not changed for hundreds of years? And the guys that created these words in the Greek and then later in the Latin language made those words so that we didn't have to get bogged down in the Key Stage 1 kiddie pool discussion. So I feel like if you're still there, you're doing it on purpose. Nobody is that daft that they can't figure out that there's a reason why agnostic and atheist are a thing. It isn't because they mean the same thing. They might be describing corners of the same idea, but they do not mean the same thing at all. And we have seen why that is. And even though your JPEG you found on Google might argue with that, I've been classically educated to know better than a JPEG off Google is going to teach me. And I know theist is the root of the word. A falsifies the word. Atheist means I'm falsifying your claim that God is true. Therefore, God is not true. And that is a positive 100% factual claim by the atheist. And therefore is not an agnosticism, which means I don't know. Okay? Good. So, get yourself rid of those armbands, get yourself in the big daddy's pool over there, and let's deal with these big, important, complex, exciting issues with some real, adult, mature debates, and leave the kiddie pool stuff to the trolls and the unfortunates. Okay? So that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Please leave your disparaging comments below the video. Or alternatively, stop wasting everyone's time and just get used to the fact that words mean things, and there are bigger discussions to be had with better rewards that lead you to a more decisive truth. That's all for now. God bless you all. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.